everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do the comfort reading tag, which was created by my friend Taylor over at the Babbling Bee. I will link her channel down below. Please go check her out. She's hilarious and phenomenal, and I am so excited about this book tag she created. So she created this tag to share the love of comfort and cozy reads, comforting and cozy reads. And it just, I love things like this, and I love reading for comfort, so this was perfect. So the first prompt is The Kettle's On, a book of steadfast comfort, always there for you, makes any day better, like a cup of tea or your favorite warm drink. And for me, that book is Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This was the first classic book that I really fell in love with and read on my own. I've read it, I don't even know how many times at this point, and this has always been my favorite Jane Austen book. I love the story, and every time I read it, I get something new out of it. It's one of those books that I can just reach for when I want that kind of read. Number 2, a book that reminds you of a loved one or a comforting book that was given to you or read aloud to you by someone dear. I have a couple answers for this one. So the first book is the poems of William Wordsworth, and William Wordsworth, I studied in college. A lot of his work is set in or about the Lake District in England, and I was really close with my grandmother. We really bonded when I told her that I was going to do a study abroad session in the Lake District, because she had gone there for a big trip with her husband when she retired. It was so nice to be able to chat with her and see what I wanted to do that she had already done, and then when I got back, that was something we could always talk about, was the Lake District and Wordsworth and the things that we both saw and experienced. His poems are just phenomenal anyway, but adding in that extra layer of nostalgia just makes it even better. I've always really loved the Brontes, and my aunt was actually related to the Brontes. My uncle came across this book and got it for me because he knows how much I love it, and that was a really cool connection between me and my aunt. And so I literally almost cried when I got this, but it is the manuscript of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, and it's broken up in 3 volumes. It's so heavy. This is really cool because it's actually in her handwriting, and it's got a ribbon bookmark and like her signature at the front, like what that looks like. I just absolutely love this, and I was so touched that he thought of me and got this for me. And it's so nice, and it's definitely something that I am going to keep forever. I'm really looking forward to my next reread of Jane Eyre because I want to try to read this version, and I just think it's going to add an extra layer to that experience. Okay, next is Warm Spices, a book with particularly vivid prose or imagery, a story comforting in its richness, depth, or vibrance. Shocking no one, I'm going with Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the most beautiful book I have ever read. And it really surprised me because it's about horrific things, but she writes it so incredibly beautifully that it just there's almost a disconnect between the beautiful writing and what happens. I just thought that was such a cool juxtaposition. And I just love the story, and the way she writes this world makes it so easy to picture everything in your mind and hear the sounds and smell the smells. And this is my favorite book ever. Okay, number 4, Candlelight, a book that keeps you going or encourages you when things feel dark. So honestly, when things feel dark, for example, 2020, I tend to gravitate towards books that are fantasy because they're really good escapes for me. They're not set in this world. They're not based on real people, that kind of thing. So honestly, I could pick probably any fantasy book off my shelf to fit this prompt. All right, number 5, Laugh Medicine. A book that makes you laugh out loud or grin widely, coming to the rescue on the gloomiest days. So anytime I need something that's going to make me laugh out loud, I always go for the Stephanie Plum books by Janet Ivanovich. My favorite one is Finger Lickin' 15. These follow Stephanie Plum, who is a bounty hunter who is very bad at her job, and she only gets her captures usually by sheer dumb luck or because one of the 2 men in her life come to her rescue. But the cast of characters in this series is so incredibly funny, and the dialogue and banter are hilarious. I've read these so many times and they still make me crack up. So I definitely recommend these anytime you just want something that will just make you giggle. Number 6, In Bed All Day. You've got your warm drink, a cozy blanket, maybe your grandmother's quilts. What do you read when you're curled up in bed all day, or at least a couple of hours? For that, I chose the Daevabad trilogy by S.A. Chakraborty. This is Middle Eastern inspired fantasy, and it's fantastic and gripping and vivid. Every book just gets better. And the series has probably one of the top most satisfying conclusions I've ever read. I already want to reread this trilogy. It's phenomenal. Number 7, Endless Comfort. A book that brings you solace no matter how many times you reread it. For that, I'm going with Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I don't know how many times I've read it. And I have a special connection to this book. My family is from Nova Scotia, which is right south of PEI, where this book is set. As far back as I can remember, Anne of Green Gables has always been a staple in my family, whether it be the book or the movie or quoting it. And I've always really related to Anne, and I get her. And it was probably one of the first times I actually saw myself in a book. It just feels like coming home when I read it, and it makes me cry every time. But this book is just so wholesome, and Anne is such an endearing, charming character that she just makes you smile no matter what. And so this is probably like my top comfort read out of everything I'm mentioning. Number 8, Portable Hope. A book that restores your faith in humanity, faith in life, faith in yourself. A book that says it's going to be okay, the world is full of good things, and tomorrow will be better. For this one, I'm going with Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. I have loved that trilogy. It's really special to me. It's one of those trilogies where there's so much in there that's like, yes, there's bad things in the world, but we're fighting for the good things. And, hold on to hope. It's worth it. It's worth fighting for. I mean, they just show you no matter what, there's good in the world. Good is going to prevail. and there are so many things in this world worth fighting for. And I just think those are the perfect example for this prompt. Number 9, a basket for your neighbor. Just as it's lovely to be comforted by books, it can be lovely to pass the comfort along. Imagining you were putting together a cozy comfort basket for your neighbor or friend, loved one, take your pick. Which book or books would you choose? The first would be The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. Honestly, I know that people have said this to death, but it is really like a hug in book form. I've read it twice now, and it's just one of those books that when I think about it, it makes me smile because it's just such a wonderfully happy book. And also, The Henna Artist by Alka Joshi. I read this last year, and it was one of my favorite books of the year. Her writing in this is superb. And it's set in Jaipur, and so she has a lot of like rich, vivid imagery and descriptions. The story, like the themes, I think are things that people can relate to. And I really just loved how this ended. And this is a book that even though I haven't reread it yet, I think about a lot. She wrote this for her mother, which I thought just added an extra layer of comfort, so I highly recommend this one as well. Finally, number 10, A Walk in the Woods. Though we'd like to stay curled up indoors with our books forever, or at least I would, we've got to venture into the world sometime. A walk in the woods always helps me feel refreshed, unless I happen upon a spider or something, but let's not think about that. Tell us about a book with beautiful nature writing or a book that restores your peace. So for that, I picked The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This one is also really special to me. I used to read this with my dad. My dad and I were really close. But this book, they travel, and there's such great descriptions of Middle Earth. You know, once again, this is one of those books where there's good in the world, and it just brings me peace reading it. And no matter how many times I read it, I still love it. It's just one of my favorite books. It's fantastic. Tagging people. I'm going to tag my friend Angela from the Literature Science Alliance because I really want to know her answers to this question. I'm also going to tag my friend Kate from the Literary Apothecary. She does bibliotherapy videos every Sunday, and I think this would be perfect for her. And I'm also going to tag my friend Lana from Lore and Lullabies, because I have not tagged her in anything yet, and I would love to see her answers to this tag. And also, if you're watching this, consider yourself tagged, and if you do this video, please let me know. I would love to hear your answers. What is your favorite comfort book? Let me know down below. Or if you just want to let me know you're here, but don't have anything to add, drop some kind of nature emoji down below. As always, if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you'd like. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.